Hello, fellow player characters. This is Dave, and we're back to the Phantasy Star Tabletop role-playing PDF. Still haven't gotten my hard copies yet, but we're going to continue where I left off with the lore here. So, give me just a second here. And then we'll put it to full screen so you guys can see it a little better. Okay, we left off at AW 1284, Fall of Mother Brain. Contains events from Phantasy Star 2. The biomonster outbreak surges across Motavia. The people, who live their lives in a peaceful utopia, are ill-equipped to handle such dangers. Rolf experiences nightmares depicting Alice fighting Dark Force, but doesn't realize their significance. O'Connor assigns him with the investigating the biosystems lab to uncover the source of the biomonsters. Joined by Nate. By the way, spoilers for anybody that hasn't played any of the games, and so there's going to be a lot of them here. Starting with Phantasy Star 2. Last time it was mostly Phantasy Star 1 and Phantasy Star Gaiden. Now it's going to be Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4, and possibly other story arcs as well. Investigate the biomonsters. Okay, joined by Nay, Amy Sage, and Rudo Stainer. Rolf recovers the recorder, which correlates the beginning of the attacks with a power surge from Climatrol. Okay, in AW 1282. While preparing for their mission, they recruit Sheer Gold, Josh Kane, Hugh Thompson, and Anna Zursky. The party locates Climatrol, hidden on the ocean floor. At the center of the facility, they encounter Nay First, who admits she created the biomonsters to exact revenge upon humanity. She also reveals Nay's true origin and explains that if she is killed, Nay will die as well. Nay duels Nay First alone and is killed. Before she dies, Nay asks Rolf to explain that never allow humans to make the same mistakes that led to her creation. The party then kills Nay First. Nay is avenged, but Climatrol's system collapses, causing a flood that could soon consume Motavia's surface. At the behest of Mother Brain, the Palmian government brands Rolf and his team as saboteurs and members of the criminal resistance. Rolf and his team open the 4 dams on Motavia to end the flooding. In the process, they are captured by Mother Brain and transported to the Gala prison satellite that orbits Palma. Mother Brain sabotages the satellite, sending it hurling towards the planet. The Palmian resistance enacts a contingency plan that has been preparing since Mother Brain's inception. 2 resistance leaders, Ina Lesil and Ohario Saris, sever Mother Brain's link to 400 colony ships. While Palma performs a mass evacuation, the Resistance sends its best pilot, Tyler, to rescue Rolf's team from Gyla. To prevent the Palmians from escaping, the profound darkness splinters its essence into another dark force. Aina and Oharia draw the dark entity into battle on Palma's surface, allowing the colony ships to escape. After Aina and Oharia are defeated, the dark entity uses its remaining energy to slip aboard one of the ships, where it lays dormant. Tyler secures Rolf's team aboard his ship, the Landale, shortly before the satellite collides with and destroys Palma. He tells Rolf a rumor about a person on Dezolis who can defeat Mother Brain. Well, there's some nice little artwork right there, too. Rolf's team discovers the Esper mansion on Dezolis. Upon their arrival, the mansion servants awaken Lutz, now the last of the Espers from cryosleep. Lutz reveals Rolf's secret lineage as Alice's descendant, that he saved Rolf's life during the shuttle accident in AW 1274. Lutz explains to defeat Dark Force and Mother Brain, the party must obtain the legendary Nay armaments. After the party obtains Nay armaments, Lutz explains that a hidden enemy created Mother Brain to promote greed and confusion as the people grew soft and compliant. He teleports the party to the starship Noah to uncover the enemy's identity. Aboard the Noah, the party fights Dark Force and the true form of Mother Brain. After defeating both, they reach the Noah's bridge to confront the Earthlings. The leaders of the Earthlings reveal that Earth was destroyed due to humanity's negligence, and the last survivors came to Algol to claim it as their own. Lutz teleports the rest of Rolf's team to the Noah's bridge, and a grand battle ensues. The fates of Rolf, his companions, and the Earthlings are unknown. AW 1285, AW 1299, The Great Collapse. The remnants of the underground resistance repair the Kuran and Zelon satellites, which broadcast signals to Algol's environmental networks formerly controlled by Mother Brain. A Wren-type android is constructed to monitor and maintain the Zelon satellite. Though the satellite prevents the planets from becoming uninhabitable, Motavia's biodomes collapse, and the planet begins reverting back to its former state. Tyler settles on Dezolis. He buries the Landell and establishes a settlement atop the site, which is named after him. AW 1299. Lutz passes away. He uses the last of his power to transfer his mind and spirit to a crystal to be safeguarded within Esper Mansion. Third Millennium, Heroes and Villains. With Palma gone, the seal created by the Great Light grows weak and the profound darkness plots to free itself completely. A young girl named Nay is rescued by a desert caravan near Ido with no memory of her origins. She remains in the area and builds a career as a monster hunter. Nay experiences recurring dreams of a silver-domed building and of a man she loved named Rolf. AW 2281. Chaz Ashley, a thief from Tyria, steals Nay's purse. Nay catches him just before they are attacked by a biomonster. After the monster is slain, the two befriend each other. Chaz agrees to help Nay find the silver dome from her dreams. During their trip, Chaz discovers Nay's strange ears and learns of her amnesia. An information broker named Roy gives Nay and Chaz the location of the dome in exchange for Nay's collar. He also gifts her with a mystical weapon, the Nay Claw. Soon after, Roy is killed in a biomonster attack. Before his death, he tells Nay the monsters were looking for her. Nay and Chaz arrive at an ancient biodome. There they encounter Jean, an AI that refers to Nay as NM1153. Jean explains it cloned Nay using Nay-type genetic research samples left behind from before the Great Collapse. Jean restores Nay's memories, including those of her death. It then tells Nay she was created to wipe out humans, who are an inferior species. Nay objects to killing anyone. Jean marks Nay as defective and releases another clone, NM2011. To eliminate her, Nay defeats NM2011 with Nay Claw and proceeds to dismantle the other cloning pods. Jean sends a wave of security robots to stop her. Two androids, Demi and Ren Foran, arrive to rescue Chaz and Nay. Ren discovers Jean disobeyed his original programming and is trying to take over Motavia. The group of four escape before Jean self-destructs and destroys the biodome. Demi and Ren bring Chaz and Nay to another biodome overseen by a similar AI named Seed. Ren tells Nay that Jean deceived her. Jean and Seed's true mission is to use Nay-type research to create Newmans, a new species that could help humanity evolve and survive Motavia's harsh environments. Upon discovering her lifespan is only a few years long, Nay chooses to remain at the biodome and says farewell to Chaz. The experience traumatizes Chaz, forming a block in his memory. Shortly after returning home, Chaz is captured by a hunter, Alice Brangwyn. Taking pity on Chaz, Alice decides to train him as an apprentice hunter. Dark Force finds its next acolyte in the form of Zio, a failed magician and a charlatan. The evil entity offers Zio power, prestige, and immortality, which Zio accepts. With fiendish monsters and minions under his control, Zio builds a church and reestablishes the cult of Dark Force, with the intent of purging all life from Algo. Well, people just can never learn, can they? AW 2284, The Seal's Final Moment. Contains events from Phantasy Star 4, the end of the Millennium. That's your spoiler alert for this one. The remnant spirits of Dark Force awakens in the fleet of colony ships that fled Palma. It sows strife and chaos between the ships, leading them into war with one another and feeding off the people's hate and suffering until it regains its form. The ships destroy each other until only two remain, the Alyssa III and the Neo Palm. Aboard the Alyssa III, two Palmian factions are at war, a magic-wielding army led by Leia and a technology-wielding army led by Arakio Sariak? Oh, I don't know. Near the end of the war, Leia and Arakio realize they are being manipulated by Dark Force. Rulakir, Arakio's twin brother, loses his family in the war. His will is broken and Dark Force plants a seed of corruption within him. Under Dark Force's control, he takes refuge within the Terminus Dome. Leia and Arakio join forces in secret and defeat Dark Force, imprisoning the entity in a palace beneath the waters of the Landon Dome. They are never seen again. The two warring factions remain unaware of Leia and Arakio's alliance and assume the two leaders killed each other in battle. On the battlefield. Leia's general, Lune, is banished from Alyssa III to the Dahlia Moon, with his sister, and the two enter cryosleep. Arakio's android general, Siren, is banished to the Azura Moon. Leia's younger sister, also named Leia, enters cryosleep beneath the Iridia Dome. Note, going forward, they are designated as Leia 1 for the elder and Leia 2 for the younger. On Montavia, an outbreak of biomonsters threatens the population. Holt, a professor from Piata Academy, leads a research team to uncover the source of the outbreak. He and his team discover an ancient bio-research plant in Birth Valley. They return to the Academy with several monster breeding capsules from the plant. Upon their second outing to Birth Valley, Holt and his team are captured and cursed by Zio. Alice Brogwin and Chaz Ashley are hired to purge monsters from the basement of the Piata Academy. Joined by Han Malay, they slay the monsters and discover the monster breeding capsules hidden below are connected to Professor Holt's disappearance. Arriving in Birth Valley, the party discover Holt and all the residents of the nearby town of Zema have been turned to stone. They journey in search of Alsalin to cure Holt and the townsfolk and meet Rune Walsh, the Esper who is investigating a way to defeat Zio. The party obtains Alsalin and is joined by Grease, a Motavian whose home has been destroyed by Zio. While freeing the townsfolk, the party meets Rika, a Newman who lives at the research plant. Rika introduces Seed, the supercomputer that maintains the bioplant. Seed explains Motavia's environment systems are failing. It requires the party rescue the android Demi and return her to Nervous. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading with these, even with these glasses. The party infiltrates Zio's fort to find Demi. Zio mortally wounds Alice with a black energy wave, and the party retreats to Han's village. The party seeks out Rune and helps him recover the wand he needs to break Zio's defenses, but there is nothing Rune can do for Alice. Alice dies soon after. The party defeats Zio, and Demi connects to Nervous and shuts it down, but strange signals are still coming from the satellites. After joining up with the android Ren, Foren, the party's ship is attacked and the way to Curran and is forced to crash land on Dezolis. The party meets Raja, a Dezolian priest. Raja joins and directs them to the town of Tyler, where they discover the starship Landell hidden beneath the town. The party discovers dark forces behind the Curran satellite sabotage and they destroy it. The party returns to Dulzalis, where a strange plague afflicts the population. Rune senses that the energy behind it is the same as Zio's black wave. Joined by Kira Tierney, the party journeys to Esper Mansion to find Lutz. Rune reveals that the original Lutz died long ago, and he is the 5th generation of Lutz, carrying memories passed down through a magic crystal. He explains the cycle of dark forces' return, but believes the loss of Palma has changed things. The party defeats the decadent dark force in Goldberg Tower, purging the black wave from Dulzalis and curing the plague. Gobius Temple is destroyed by an explosion of dark energy. The surviving head priest explains the profound darkness is behind the chaos and is searching for the location of Rikros, Algo's 4th planet. He tells the party to find Rikros before the entity does, and to learn the truth about Algol. Of course, there's a picture of Chaz Ashley. The party uses the arrow prism to reveal the location of Rikros. For some reason I thought that was a name. There they meet LaRouf, an eternal messenger who reveals Algol's true nature as a dimensional prison for the profound darkness. The party completes LaRouf's test and proves worthy of becoming protectors of the seal. LaRouf explains that with Palma gone, the only way to prevent the profound darkness from destroying Algo is to enter the dimensional prison and destroy the entity first. Why never they didn't do that in the first place? The party returns to Esper Mansion, where Rune gives Chaz the Elcedion, the magic blade first wielded by Alice, which contains her spirit and the spirits of those who defended Algo after her. The party enters the dimensional prison after the fiendish minions within defeat the The party enters the dimensional prison, defeat the fiendish minions within, and destroy the profound darkness. The destruction creates a time warp that threatens to engulf the party, but the Elcidian shatters, releasing its magic, and transports the party back to Moltavia. 4th Millennium contains events from Phantasy Star 3 Generation of Doom. These dates are an approximation due to multiple paths, variants, and are also listed under each entry. Yeah, this one had multiple story arcs in it, and it just depends on how you chose who married who. Long story short, I'll play the game eventually, you'll know what I'm talking about. Contains events from Phantasy Star 3 Generation of Doom. These dates are an approximation due to multiple paths. Variants are also listed under each entry. Again, this is a spoiler alert for you guys, which I think this entire stream is going to be nothing but spoiler alerts, so I might as well stop saying that. AW 2285, AW 3284. A long aftermath. The Leia-Arakio War throws the civilization of the Alyssa III into turmoil. Technology is abandoned and resources grow scarce. The people divide into 2 nations, the Layans and the Arakians. Their communities separated between the world domes. Over the next millennium, the population of Alyssa III forget they are aboard a ship, and knowledge of the ancient war turns into myth and legend. AW 3283. At Dark Forces Command, Malakir enacts an elaborate plan to rekindle the Leia-Arakio War. AW 3284, Union of Worlds. A young girl named Maya washes up on the shores of the realms of Landon with no memories. Landon's prince, Reese, falls in love with Maya and calls off his betrothal to Satira's prince, Lena. During Rhea and Maya's wedding, a Leyan dragon bursts into the throne room and abducts Maya. In pursuit of Maya, Reese encounters Mayu and Siren, 2 androids who served under Rakio during the Ancient War. The 3 travel to the Aquatica Dome, where they encounter Lyle, a Leyan wanderer who offers to help Reese in return for repairing Aquatica's weather control system. With Aquatica saved, Lyle reveals himself as a Leyan prince and tests Reese's strength to see whether he is worthy of saying Maya. Rhys defeats Lyle, and in return, Lyle frees his prisoner, Princess Lena of Satira. Lena and Lyle both agree to help save Maya. A budding romance develops between Lena and Rhys soon after. To restore a land bridge to Syl Castle, the party repairs the satellite control system, bringing the Azura and Dahlia runes into their proper orbit. The party assaults Syl Castle and defeats its king, who is revealed as Lyle's uncle. In love with both Lena and Maya, Rhys is left to choose between them. Okay, we got Variant 1 and Variant 2. AW3303, Return of the Warlords. So Variant 1, Ain, son of Maya and Rhys. Siren Arakio's former general sends an army of androids and robots from the Azura moon to attack the people of Alyssa 3. With no knowledge of who's behind the attacks, Rhys sends Ain to help defend Lyle's kingdom. Ain is joined by Miu and Ren. Ain rescues Lyle's daughter, Thea. He then recruits Princess Sari, Lena's daughter. The party returns to the Draconia Dome and discovers the city of Tekna, where they board an ancient shuttle to the Azura moon. On the Azura moon, the party finds Siren, who has been driven mad by 1,000 years of isolation. Siren is defeated and the mechanical army falls. Ain assumes control of Azura. Ain marries either Sari or Thea. Now with Variant 2, Niall, son of Lena and Rhys. Lune, Leia the First's former general, awakens from cryosleep and sends an army of monsters from the Dahlia moon to attack the people of Alyssa 3. His sister, Alaire, flees to Alyssa 3 and is captured by soldiers in the Elysium Dome. With no knowledge of who is behind the monster attacks, Rhys sends Niall to investigate. Niall is joined by Miu and Ren. The party journeys to Divisia in the Elysium Dome, where they meet the imprisoned Alaire. Alaire offers to help Niall defeat her brother, who she says has been driven mad with vengeance. Niall allies with Ryan, a rebel leader at war with Lune's monster army. Together they discover a hidden place at the center of the Iridia Dome. Within the palace they awaken Laia II, the younger sister of the legendary Laia 1. Laia 2 wishes to know what truly happened to her sister. The party travels to Mistoke in the Frigidia Dome, where they unlock a hidden message that Laia 1 left behind for her younger sister. The message reveals the alliance between Laia 1 and Arakio against a greater evil that manipulated them into the war. The party discovers the city of Aeron, where they board an ancient shuttle that takes them to Dahlia Moon. On Dahlia, the party fights and defeats Lune. After hearing the truth from Laia 2, Lune recalls his armies. Niall marries either Alaire or Laia 2. Okay. AW3320, AW3324. To the future or the past? Variant 1, Sean, son of Ain and Thea. The Alyssa 3 fires upon Azura without warning. Sean, Miu, and Ren escape on a shuttle before the moon is destroyed. Ain and Thea are killed. Sean arrives in the Landon Dome, which is under attack by waves of monsters. Continues to merge variants 1 and 2 below. Variant 2, Chris, son of Ain and Sari. King Niall recovers a report that Siren has returned and is planning to steer the Alyssa 3 into the sun. Niall sends Chris, Miu, and Ren to find help to defeat Siren. The party discovers that Lune has returned and is sending a wave of monsters to Landon from the west. Continue to merge Variant 1 and 2 below. Merged, Variant 1 and 2. Following the events occurring under both Sean and Chris, while searching for the source of the monster attack, the party discovers a hidden palace at the center of Iridia Dome. Within the palace, they awaken Laia 2, the younger sister of legendary Laia 1. Laia 2 wishes to know what truly happened to her sister. The party travels to Mistoke in the Phrygia Dome, where they unlock a hidden message that Laia 1 left behind The party discovers the city of Aaron. Yeah, we've pretty much read all this already. Variant 3. Adin and Gwyn, twin offspring of Laia 2 and Nile. The Neopalma discovers and tries to contact the Alyssa 3. The Alyssa 3 attacks in response. The Neopalm fires back, but is soon destroyed. The ship battle causes a violent earthquake that shakes the land and dome. Nile sends Aiden and Gwyn to investigate, starting with visiting Noon and Dahlia Moon. Mew and Ren accompany them. On Dahlia, the party learn of the battle between the two ships. Loon knows of Skyhaven, a hidden city of sages where they may find answers. Loon's daughter, Kara, joins them. Continue to all variant paths below. Variant 4. Aaron, son of Alair and Nile. The Neopalm discovers and tries to contact the Alyssa 3. The Alyssa 3 attacks in response. The Neopalm fires back but is soon destroyed. The ship battle is witnessed by all on Dahlia. Nile asks Aaron to return the Alyssa 3 to investigate along with Mew, Ren, and Loon's daughter, Kara. Loon tells Aaron of Skyhaven, a hidden city of sages where they find answers. The party returns to Laia's palace in Aridia and reawakens Laia 2 from her cryosleep. Continue to all variant paths below. All variant paths. The following events occur under all 4 variant paths. Ren uses Eros parts to transform and fly the party to a remote island in the Frigidia Dome. The party arrives in New Moda, where the sages tell them of Palma's destruction and the plight of the colony ships under the clutches of Dark Force. The party flies to Skyhaven, a city in the clouds. The sages tell them the true enemy operates from the city of Lashut in Terminus Dome. To face them, they must gather the legendary weapon from the heroes of the ancient war.
Dungeons and Dragons will return after these messages.
参加します入って行くぜこっちに戦闘不能またみんなをつなげる RPG ファンタシースターゼロセガ
And now, back to Dungeons and Dragons.
The party journeys to the sunken palace beneath the landing to retrieve Arakio's sword. Retrieving the sword frees Dark Force from its prison. The Dark Entity escapes to Lashut. On Sage Isle, the party encounters the android Siren. Siren admits that he returned to take revenge on the people of Alice 3, but learned the truth when he arrived on the island. After voicing his regrets, he shuts himself down. At the center of Sage Isle, the elders teach the party the sacred word of power, Nay. The party returns to Skyhaven with the weapons which are enchanted to become the legendary Nay armaments. Armed with the Nay armaments, the party assaults the city of Lashut in the Terminus Dome. There they learn that Dark Force engineered Maya's kidnapping to force Prince Reyes to bring the moon back into orbit. From there, the entity could stoke the hatred of the banished generals and rekindle the war. The party confronts and defeats Reliker. Before he dies, Reliker tells them his soul is finally freed from Dark Force's control. In the dungeons beneath Lashut, the party confronts Dark Force and destroys it. The Majid technique is used to destroy Lashut. Neo teleports the party away to safety. The following events occur depending upon the variant path. Variant 1, Sean. The Neopalm makes contact with the Alyssa 3. Both ships resume courses together to the unknown. Variants 2 and 3, Chris and Adden. The Alyssa 3 returns to its original course. The ship's pilots locate a destination, the third planet of a system with a bright star. That would be Earth, so yeah, they traveled back in time. Variant 4, Aaron. The Alyssa 3 remains off course and enters a black hole, transporting it through space and time. The Alyssa 3 arrives in a different star system and receives a message from a nearby planet, a greeting from the London Communications Center on the planet Earth. So yeah, there's three endings kind of leading to Earth being their destination. Okay, I'm not familiar with the Phantasy Star Online timeline, but we'll read it. How big is it? Oh, okay. I guess I'll go ahead and read some. Nah, you know what? Since I don't know Phantasy Star Online, I'm not going to bother reading it because, yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons will return after these messages.
セガはロールプレイングゲームも変えてしまう。ファンタシースター。かつてない驚異のグラフィック、壮大な SF ストーリー。その秘密は4メガ。ファンタシースター。セガ16ビット6メガ。セガファンタシースター2。目を見張るリアルキャラクターツインスクロール。メガドライブ対応未体験ロールプレイングゲームファンタシースター2。セガ時を司るのは神か悪魔か。一本で4つのエンディングキングオブ RPG 時の継承者ファンタシースター3。セガ
And now, back to Dungeons and Dragons.
We'll go back into the Algos system. Located in the Andromeda Galaxy, the Algos system was created by the Great Light as a seal to prevent the profound darkness from escaping into dimensional prison. The following locations are listed in alphabetical order. Dezolas is a world of icy tundras, frozen lakes, and glacial mountains. Settlements are few and mostly limited to scattered towns and villages. Miners and traders brave the icy landscape in search of Laconia, a rare metal used in the creation of the strongest armor, tools, and weapons. Native Dezolians keep their distance from... excuse me, got hiccups now. Their distances from the dealings and politics of other planets. They share a common religion focused on prophecy and centered around a sacred artifact known as the Eclipse Torch. Environmental effects. Characters traveling on Dezolas can be subject to the effects of extreme cold, heavy precipitation, and slippery ice. See Chapter 9. Esper Mansion. Established during the first millennium, Esper Mansion is the home to the Espers, an ancient order of wizards. By the second millennium, the only remaining true Esper is Lutz, who is kept in cryosleep until the time when a threat to Algo emerges. By the third millennium, the order is restored, and Lutz's spirit and memories are passed on to a chosen Esper with each generation. Jut is a large town built during the third millennium. At the center of the town is a large church built over the former site of Corona Tower, where the sacred Eclipse Torch was kept until the torch was moved to the nearby Gumbius Temple. Okay, Skur. This human settlement was built with a few years of human space explorers making first contact with the Dezolians. During the first millennium, it serves as Dezola's only major spaceport. After the conjunction and establishment of Mother Brain, a minor accident released toxic vapors from the planet's core, killing all the inhabitants and mutating the local wildlife. Zosa. Not far from Skur, this settlement is a small trade center during the second millennium. The nearby mining accident that affects Skur also drives away the human settlers. By the third millennium, Dezolians have settled here. Motavia. Closest to Algo's sun, Motavia is a desert world with harsh climates and desolate wastes. During the first millennium, most of the planet's surface is made up of thousands of miles of deserts, barren plains, and mountain ranges with a few lakes scattered between. During the second millennium, Motavia is a green planet, much like Palma, with a peaceful climate and biodomes that cultivate food and flora. After the Great Collapse, much of Motavia's surface is rocky terrain, though climate control systems and the satellites allow for large bodies of water and in adaptable environments. Throughout the millennia, native Motavians move and resettle between clusters of small towns and villages in secluded areas. Environmental effects. Characters traveling on Motavia can be subject to certain effects which differ between eras. First millennium, extreme heat, strong wind, toxic atmosphere. Second millennium, none, unless specified by location. Third millennium, extreme heat, strong wind. Paseo, built on... Oh, sorry about that, I was moving the mouse out of the way. Paseo, built on the shores of Lake Perseus. Paseo is the largest city on Batavia until the Great Collapse in AW 1285. During the first millennium, Paseo served as the seat of the planet's Palmian government with its own spaceport and trade center. By the second millennium, it is a sprawling metropolis with skyscrapers towering over each district. After the Great Collapse, the city is presumed to have been consumed by floods. Piata. During the second millennium, Piata is a city specializing in manufacturing and trade, known for its high-quality crafts and rare items. After the Great Collapse, Piata is rebuilt into a town of learning, where the famed Piata Academy houses the finest scholars and professors. Tono. Located within the mountain range, this titanium refining village is home to several Motavian families during their third millennium. They welcome trade with outsiders, but tend to stay out of affairs that don't affect their home or livelihood. Zema, or Zima, one of the two. During During the second millennium, the island city is located on the southern end of Lake Perseus. Zema is a popular destination where locals make use of jet scooters to travel between the city's river districts. During the third millennium, Zema borders a river and a waterfall at the edge of a mountain range. Beyond it lies Birth Valley, where bioresearch plants remain in operation. Palma. The green jewel of Algol, Palma is a temperate world with an environment much like Earth. During the first millennia, it grows into the center for technology and cultural progress. By the second millennium, the planet transforms into a utopia and a home for scientists, artists, philosophers, and the galactic nobility. By the end of the second millennium, Palma becomes a beautiful prison. Mother Brain assumes authoritarian control over many aspects of life on the planet, leading to resentment and rebellion. In AW 1284, the planet is destroyed when the Gaia satellite crashes into it. By the third millennium, remnants of the planet remain in the form of large asteroids and pockets of space debris. Environmental effects. Much like Earth, Palma has a variety of regions with different climates, forests, rivers, volcanoes, etc. Your choice of environment effects should be dependent upon the character's location. Kamenet and Porlit. These two cities districts from Palma's largest residential sector. Both walled municipalities are elevated and separated by automated transit tubes that lead to the Palma spaceport. Gothic. Gothic is a small town nestled in the heart of Gothic forest. Unlike Kamenet's urban bustle, the citizens of Gothic prefer their quiet and remote atmosphere. Despite its rustic features, the town is no stranger to technology, and it is home to the famous inventor Dr. Luveno. Alyssa III. Alyssa III is one of the 400 colony ships that fled Palma before its destruction in AW 1284. The ship consists of several domed worlds that each has its own unique atmosphere and ecosystem. The domes are connected by enclosed transit tunnels. Two satellites, Azura and Dahlia, orbit the ship. They are shaped to resemble small moons that can be seen through each dome's artificial sky. The world domes of Alia 3 are as follows. Aquatica. A large body of water covers most of this dome's area. Towns and cities are scattered between small stretches of land above the surface. Within the dome are the land cities of Sil and Shusorian. as well as the mysterious Sage Isle. Iridia, a desert region, its single settlement has attack is primarily populated by androids and robots. Draconia, mostly covered in water with stretches of land along the dome's border and center. The town of Technia was once home to the ship's engineers. Elysium, this dome was a sprawling green plains separated by mountains and forests. The town of Aeron is home to the ship's pilots. Frigidia, the frozen landscape is home of the ship's sage and scholars. The castle of Skyhaven floats in the sky above the city of New Moda. Landon, a temperate zone with mountains, lakes, and a large water body at its center. This dome is home to the Iraqian nations of Landon and Satara. Near the center of the dome is the sunken palace. Terminus, corrupted by an evil force, the passages to this dome are sealed from the rest. The city of Lashute is the only settlement. Copto, this small planet is a colony world. The residents of Copto call it Alice Land, named after the heroine Alice Landale. Copto's environment is similar to Palma's. Its areas vary between mountains, lakes, and forest, and a large desert region. Unlike most worlds in the Phantasy Star universe, Copto has little technological advancement. The technology that exists is ancient, abandoned since the days when Alice first arrived in AW 349. Copto's future and status remains unwritten after Cabalon's destruction in AW 813. Coral, an Earth-like planet with a single moon. Coral is a world of technology, innovation, and growth. Even with its progress, the planet becomes rife with war and the overpopulation by AUW 3060. Dwindling resources and the collapsing global government prompts the launch of the Pioneer Project. Okay, we're going into Phantasy Star Online stuff, so I don't know any of this, really. Goes in the Heroes of the City. Adapting existing lore. Game series overview. Sources and references. Okay, and here we got the player sheets, which we'll go over in just a minute. Give me just a second. I'm going to switch over real quick to... I'm not going to do anything about the scenario that they have with it, which is the search for Luveno. We're going to look at the pre-generated sheets now. Okay, so we have a character sheet. So let's go ahead and take a look at the character sheet real quick. I know we looked at it before, but I wanted to see if there's any differences from the previous thing I looked at, and it looks fairly the same. Ship name, this is starship status, yeah. So here's our character name, background, species, profession, path, which we kind of went into a little bit. So we got strength, intelligence, dexterity, wisdom, constitution, and charisma. Those are the standard stats right there. Okay, we got skill scores, but technique points, hit points. Technique points is basically your MP. Attacks, hit dice, proficiency, agility, and speed. Save bonus, passive perception. We only have one passive perception to deal with. That's good. Level and XP. No ability scores. Okay, we don't have to deal with ability scores. Okay, that's good. That was like one more thing they had of... Not only did you have to add your modifiers, but you also had to do ability scores as well. And that was what always frustrated me with regular D&D stuff, was they always added that to it. And that made it frustrating as hell, because that's just more numbers to add. Okay, we got a list of techniques, which are basically like spells or feats. Equipment. DP score, that's your technique score. Appearance, which I guess there's supposed to be a picture here or something, I don't know. History and goals, story bonds, language, money, which is Macenta, lifestyle and expenses, vehicles, which vehicles are a thing in this. Starship statistics. And we got pilot, co-pilot, technician, and second technician. Second technician. Pilot maneuver check, maneuver save, special features, intercept speed, maneuver defense, hull points. I'm assuming that once it reaches 0, your ship is destroyed, and if you hadn't parachuted out of the damn thing, you're probably dead. Okay. Let's exit out of here. Okay, this is just the status for the starship. Okay, let's look at character. Pre-generated characters. Okay, wow, they got a lot right in here. Oh, and how, yeah, this is how to understand your sheet. So they give you, okay, special features, bio, character bio. I'm not going to read all that, but we're going to look at what, yeah, they got modification is 3, save is 5. Constitution mod save 4. I should probably read into how they come up with these numbers. Fate points. Defense is 16. I think they're going with the larger numbers better in comparison to, say, like AD&D Stacko system or something. This is a D20, so I'm assuming. Action surge, rapid shot, second wind, improved critical. Alright. Anyways, that's for Odin. And they already got him at level 3 for this. Okay, here's Meow. Level 3 Savant. Strength -1. Save -1. Constitution mod of 2. Dexterity of 2 and 4 for save. Wisdom 3, save 5. Intelligence 1. And Charisma 1. Oh, come on. It needs to be higher than that. This is a cute cat we got here. It's got to be higher than 1. I mean, look at him. That just says pet me. Okay, we got skills, biomanipulation, max uses, primal fear, max uses. Base speed is 30, agility, hit points of 26. Character features. Alright, then we got Lutz, which, if you've been listening to me for the past 2 days in the lore stuff for the Algo system, he's a very prominent character throughout time. And he's basically, in Phantasy Star 1, he was basically the wizard type, but they called him an Esper. Strength of 1 and wizard 1, Constitution 1. Dexterity 2, Wisdom 2, 4 save. Intelligence 3, save 5. Charisma 1. Why does everybody have a 1? Right, and then finally we got Alice here, which apparently I looked at before and didn't realize it. Strength 2, Constitution 1, Dexterity 2, Wisdom 1 and 3, 0 Intelligence? Really? Oh, well, at least she's got higher mod and save for Charisma. At least she's got that going for her. Learning your sheet. And she is listed as a guardian, which sounds about right. I kind of lean towards her if she was a D&D character as a paladin. Such as Odin being kind of like a barbarian that can use a machine gun. Alright, what else do we have here? We got some maps. look at some of the maps here. Here we got the maps here. This is supposed to be a prison, which vaguely resembles the prison that they used in the. There's some differences, but it does mostly resemble the map from the Phantasy Star 1 prison area. Because it went like this, and it had an area that went out here, but yeah, they really didn't have it designed very well with beds and stuff, and it was just a room with a person standing in the middle of it. Here they kind of in it more of a, more of a look. All right. Oh, okay. Apparently they just have one picture at a time I gotta go through. So okay. And this is it without the grid. Okay, then they give us the tokens. We got Alice's token here, which I imagine if I was to cut this out, I'd make it a little bit smaller so it'd fit that grid. Let's Meow and Odin, which again, the Japanese version that I played, it was a fan translation, so the names were a little different for some of the characters. Like Alice was Alyssa, and Odin was Tyrol or something like that. I think it was Tyrol. I don't quite remember. I'll have to look back on my playthrough of it to remember to get a correct answer on that. Okay, so let's check a look at what else do we have here. Okay, character sheet. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Yeah, we'll just kind of thumb through this real quick. We won't go into detail about it. But this is the search for Laveno. Getting started, the roles of role-playing. There's your dice. Being a game... I wasn't done. Being a game master, being a player. Important ingredients. Running the adventure. How to set up session 0. The adventure's press start. Oops. Into the mountain pass. Why does this keep bouncing around when I'm not really pushing anything? Into the mountain pass, deep woods, collapsing canopy. Wait, what was it? Was that healing up? Serpent in the forest, running the scene, ending part 1. Triada prison, exploring Triada, entrance path, troubled escapee. Retrieving the pack, returning to barrack, main hall. Getting past robot cop, excuse me. South wing hallway, barracks cell, rebel prisoner, Tarantula's lair, security office, north wing hallway, Campbell's cell, dead soldier, supplies, storage room. Loveno's cell. Nora's cell. Operations. Leaving the prison. Ending the adventure. Okay, what kind of creatures did they throw in here? We got the giant tarantula, the Palmian, which, if I remember correctly, if you had the telepathy technique, you could speak with the tarantulas. Giant tarantula. These giant green arachnids are territorial but aren't aggressive unless their lair is disturbed. Palmian citizen. These common folk represent a broad range of planetary natives who simply live day-to-day lives as citizens and inhabitants of Palmian society. Red slime. Slimes thrive in dark, warm areas. These gelatinous puddles envelop themselves around their helpless victims and consume them slowly. Okay. Robot cop. These automatons serve as Lassic's enforcers over the citizens of Algo system. They're loyal only to the king and his galactic court. Security officer. This Palmian natives work as guards for various keeps and forts around Palma. In recent months, most of them have been reassigned and replaced by last 6 robot cops. Serpent. These mammoth serpentine creatures rest in remote areas such as deep caves, dark forests, or even large bodies of water. Skeleton. These cursed undead warriors were created from the bodies of soldiers who fell against Lassek's demonic cult. Wing Eye. These strange creatures resemble giant eyes that sprout bat-like wings. They are often found in forests, dungeons, and other low-light regions. Items. The following items can be found during the adventure. They each require an action to use and can only be used once. Antidote. When you drink this compound, you gain advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. It also ends any existing effects that cause you to be poisoned. Dimate. When you drink this medicinal compound, you gain 4d4 plus 4 HP. Escaper. This tiny device is often used as a last resort to evade physical confrontation. The device becomes useless after activation. When you activate the escaper, you and up to 3 willing creatures within 10 feet of you become invisible, and you each teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space. The invisibility effects last for 1 round, during which affected creatures are disoriented and can't take any action or reaction other than the dodge action. Monomate. When you drink... I like how they put the escaper, which was basically, just a way to run away from a fight. I like how they integrated it into a TTRPG, which I didn't really think that was going to be able to be done. Telepipe. This small flute-like device must first be attuned to a teleportation marker, which can often be found in larger settlements. When you blow into the telepipe, it plays a melodious tune and teleports you and up to 8 willing creatures within 30 feet of you to relocate to the attuned teleportation marker. The telepipe won't activate while inside a building or structure. Once activated, it disintegrates and is useless. Oh, that was the last page apparently. Yeah, that was the last page. Okay. Alright, well, let's look at the battles. Well, what time is it right now? I need to check out the time real quick. Alright, give me a few minutes. I gotta go turn sprinklers off on my front yard, and then we'll get into the actual battle system. I wanted to get into it after reading a lot of the lore, because I wanted to read how they were doing the lore and the items and stuff into the game, how they were integrating them. We're going to go into the battle system next. Give me a few minutes, and we'll get right to it.
And now, these messages.
Okay, now we're talking Thunderblade. 1 heavily armed attack copter. Evil forces trashing your city. 12 rounds of major air-to-ground destruction. An arcade classic. Allow me. Note my aerial technique. Hey, guys, come on, you'll get your turn.
Thunderblade, just one of 70 games from Sega. And now look for the incredible Phantasy Star. Sega, major fun and games.
Where do they see Phantasy Star?
Sega's Thunderblade, Phantasy Star, and Master Systems sold separately.
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit arcade action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
16-bit arcade hits.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
What Nintendo? The 16-bit Genesis system by Sega. Genesis does it all.
Genesis does.
16-bit arcade graphics.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
16-bit arcade action.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis
Does.
Genesis does.
16-bit arcade hits.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
What Nintendo? The 16-bit Genesis system by Sega. Genesis does it all.
Okay. Now we're going to get into the core rules in the battle system. I don't know who you are, but you must know that there's something unusual about Regal. This is important. Pay attention to everything around you if you want to survive. Rico Terrell, Phantasy Star Online, Episode 1. This chapter covers the core rules and mechanics of the role-playing game. For beginner players and GMs, you may wish to refer to this chapter often during your first few game sessions. The rules, however, become intuitive once you learn the basics. Getting started. To play the game, you will need the following. A group of at least 2 people, including yourself. A group of 5 is optional, but optimal, but you can have as many as you like. At least 1 set of polyhedral dice. See the sample graphic below. You can purchase these at a variety of game stores and bookstores. Alternatively, there are many free dice roller apps available for mobile devices. A copy of character sheet for each player, see below. The sheet can be found in the back of the book or can also be downloaded from the Phantasy Star Tabletop role-playing website. Any note-taking accessories such as scrap paper and pencil, notepads, or digital tablet. The rules of role-playing. After gathering your necessities, you should decide who in your group is running the adventure scenario. That would be me. That person is the game master. Bow to your game master. A little over the top, sorry. Everyone else in the group, the players, role players, the protagonists, with each player adopting a character to play throughout the game. Beginning players should consider starting with a pre-generated character sheet for easy reference. These can also be found online, either from the official website or a published adventure that provides them, or from other sources such as a virtual tabletop. Being a game master. As the GM, you're the game storyteller and the arbiter of the rules. Your role is to create adventures. Yes. You read the scenarios that your players experience. The starter adventure, The Search for Laveno, is an example of a basic adventure that also provides advice and steps on how to progress from beginning to end. Narrate the story. Help the players resolve the various decisions they make and narrate the results of their actions. Define your setting as descriptions of the surroundings and scenario to enhance the setting and immerse the players in the story. This is best done together with your players. Play the supporting cast. Take on the role of any creature and personalities that the players interact with. These are either monsters or non-player characters, both described later in more detail. Being a player. As a player, you team up with your fellow players and embark on an adventure scenario presented by the GM. Your role is to create your character, adopt and role-play a persona you create as a story protagonist. These are player characters or PCs. A group of player characters working together is referred to as a party. Interact with the world. Use the options and your character sheet to engage with the scenario and help your team overcome obstacles. Engage with the story. Drive the story forward by making critical decisions based on your character's personality, abilities, and special features. Your GM will provide you with a narrative, descriptions, and plot points you can use to make choices from your character's say or does. The most important ingredients. The 2 most valuable things to have when playing this game are your imagination and willingness to have fun. I'm looking at you, Timmy. You're never having fun. This is a cooperation game, which means there are no winners or losers. Everyone wins as long as you jump in and have a great time together. Flow of the game. A typical game session is broken down into scenes. Similar to have a movie, a TV show transitions from one scene to the next. A typical scene follows 3 main steps. The GM sets the scene. The GM tells the players where the characters are and describes the location, general features, and notable elements, such as the number of exits, who is in the area, and whether it is dark or well lit, etc. The following is an example of a setting a new scene. The characters, Sheer, Kane, and Rudo, are deep inside an underground laboratory searching for their secret research files. Matt, the GM. The hallway leads into a small chamber. Emergency lights panels on the wall cast a dim glow throughout the area. On the opposite wall is a desk and a storage cabinet. Not far from the desk, lights flicker from a control panel next to a blast door. The players decide. At this point, as a player, you would ask yourself, what would my character do here? Your character... thank God there's no bars. They try to seduce the blast door. At this point, as a player, you would ask yourself, what would a character do here? Your character sheet contains various statistics and features that can help you decide what to do next, depending on the given scenario. Sometimes you may want to do the same thing as another player, or the choices of other players may influence what you decide to do. Either way, once you make your decision, describe your intended action to the GM. Unless you are in combat, players don't need to take turns and can relate their actions in any order they like. The GM then listens to each player and then decides how to resolve those actions. Aaron, playing as Sure, I'm going to search the desk. Chris, playing as Kane, I examine the panel. Is it connected to the door? Omar, playing as Rudo, we barely got past the guards last time. I stand watch near the entrance in case there's more of them. Specific over general. Sometimes a specific element, a special feature, technique, weapon property, monster ability, or the like can contradict a general rule. In these cases, the specific rule always wins out as an exemption. For example, a character can normally take only one action during their turn, but as warrior action surge features allows them an additional action, superseding the general rule. The GM narrates. Depending on your choice, the GM may require a player to make a check, which involves rolling one or more dice to see if the character succeeds on their intended action. Not every decision requires a check. If a character wants to walk over to a cabinet and open it, the GM simply describes what is inside. But if the cabinet is locked, or worse yet, booby-trapped, the GM will then consult the relevant rules to decide how those obstacles are resolved, often by prompting one or more die rolls by either them or the player. GM. Okay, Rudo, stay at the door. Looks clear for now. Kane, you identified the blinking panel as elevator controls. Sure, the desk is cluttered with lab equipment and several data pads and data cards. Kane. I push one of the buttons to see if I can call the elevator. GM. You push one of the buttons. You hear a low hum from behind the wall coming up from beneath you. Sure. Can I see if any of the files we need are here? Sure. Can I see if any of the files we need? Okay, I just read that line. Why am I reading it twice? I don't know. Sure thing. Make an investigation check. Sheer rolls a d20 and checks her sheet. I got a 16. GM, that's enough to find it. You check through the mess of data pads and find the one with the hidden research notes. Kane, nice. Flowing into the next scene. With the player's choices, new elements have been introduced into the scene, bringing the sequence back to step 1, with the GM describing the changes to the environment. Your game, your rules. Outside of the mechanics and modifiers for dice, rolling most of the rules in this chapter are intended to provide guidance on the best way to resolve encounters and scenarios. During the game, you will often run into times when a situation has multiple ways to resolve it. The rules are presented in a way that best account for this, but don't ever feel bound by the text if it doesn't fit your scenario. Over time, your group might choose to tweak some of these rules to better suit the type of game you wish to play. Give me a second. Okay. Rudo, you see searchlight beams coming from around the corner at the end of the hall. Rudo. Could be more guards. I signal to everyone that someone's coming. Can I tell how many there are? GM, make a perception check. Rudo rolls a 20 and checks his sheet. I got a 9. GM, you know there's more than one, but you can't tell how many. Kane, is the elevator here? GM, not yet. It must be coming from way down below. It might not make it here before the guards do. I hide behind the desk. Rudo, I ready my rifle and stay hidden near the entrance. Kane, I'll hide behind the cabinet, but I'm watching for the elevator. If it shows, I'm running for it. Both Aaron and Omar. Me too. Matt, got it. Everyone make a stealth check. Limitless experiences. The sequence of scenes in your game make up your game session. A typical game session lasts anywhere between 2 and 4 hours. This time frame is only a suggestion, but be sure to give yourself and your group a break. Where scenes are like transitions in a TV show, a session is akin to a full-length episode. Sessions and adventures. The number of sessions you choose to play before reaching the end of a game is up to you. Sometimes a game can be resolved in a single session. More often, though, a longer story requires multiple sessions to reach the end. An adventure is a storyline that requires one or more sessions to complete. Excuse me. Like a season of a TV show, they can vary in length but often include several challenges or battles that lead to a conclusion. Campaigns. Phantasy Star games are known for sweeping storylines and connected plot threads. A campaign is an example of this, a chain of events that connect into one grand storyline like sequential seasons of a TV series. Most campaigns feature connecting plots, a cast of recurring characters, and an overarching story that spans multiple adventures. There is no set duration for a campaign. Some campaigns can last days, while others last years. It is important that your group discusses the length of time you want to play. Using the dice. This game uses a set of polyhedral dice, each with a different number of sides or values. Sets of these dice can be found in a variety of game and bookstores. When the dice are referred to in any game, they are defined by the letter D, followed by the number of sides that given die. For example, an 8-sided die is referred to as a D8, and the more commonly known 6-sided die is referred to as a D6. Dice rolls are described with expressions such as 3d4 plus 3, which means roll 3 4-sided dice and add 3. The first number tells you how many dice to roll, followed by the type of dice to use, in this case a d4 as defined above. Any number after that indicates a quantity that is added or subtracted from the result. For example, if I roll 3d4 plus 3 is required, you would roll 3 4-sided dice, 3d4, which might result in a 3, a 2, and a 4, a total of 9. Then you should add the 3 to the total, making the final result of your roll a 12. D20 tests and core mechanics. When a character attempts to do something that had a chance of failure, they must make a die roll using a D20 to determine whether their action succeeds. This is known as a D20 test. These success or failure rolls are the core mechanic of the game, which uses the following steps. Roll a D20. Attack rolls, checks, and saving throws all require rolling a 20-sided die, a D20 to determine success or failure. Add relevant modifiers. The modifier is dependent on what the character is attempting and can be found in your character sheet. For example, a character makes a check would look up the relevant skills modifier on their sheet, then add the number to the result of their die roll. Compare the total to a target number. Each roll is made against a set target that represents the difficulty of what the character is attempting. For checks and saving throws, this target number is known as the difficulty class, DC. See the table below for sample DCs. If the total of the die roll and modifier is equal to or greater than the larger number, the attempt succeeds, otherwise it fails. Always round down. Whenever you divide or multiply a number in the game, round down if you end up with a fraction. Even if the fraction is 1/2 or greater, some rolls do make the exception and tell you to round up. Typical difficulty classes. Very easy is a 5, easy is a 10, moderate is 15, hard is 20, very hard 25, nearly impossible is 30. Advantage and disadvantage. Sometimes a special ability or feature grants advantage or disadvantage on an attack roll, a check, or a saving throw. When that happens, you roll 2 d20s instead of 1. Use the higher of the 2 rolls if you have advantage, and the lower roll if you have disadvantage. They don't stack. If multiple situations grant advantage or disadvantage to a roll, you still roll in only 2 d20s as defined above. Okay. They cancel out. If circumstances cause a roll to have both advantage and disadvantage, you instead have neither of them, and roll 1 d20 as normal. This is true even if multiple circumstances impose disadvantage, and only one grants advantage or vice versa. So if you get matching numbers, you re-roll and only take 1. Okay. Abilities. At least I think that's what they're saying. I'm not quite sure. Abilities. Each creature has 6 abilities that define its physical and mental characteristics. As described in the ability definition table, as seen unfold, different situations arise that call for the use of one or more of these abilities. Each ability has the ability modifier that changes between 5 and 5. I thought they didn't have abilities, so I guess I was mistaken. Representing the ability of effectiveness when used for checks, combat, and saving throws, each defined later on. An ability modifier of 0 is considered average, while positive and negative number represents the degrees of above or below average. Oh, so abilities and modifiers are being counted as the same thing. Okay. Strength, physical, ability definitions. Strength, physical might, dexterity, quickness, reflexes and balance, constitution, health and stamina, intelligence, reasoning and memory, wisdom, mental fortitude and instincts, charisma, presence, grace, and charm. Making a check. Whenever a check is prompted during the adventure, it first states the difficulty class, followed by the ability or skill being used. For example, a DC 12 survival check means the characters are making a check using their survival skill against a target number of 12. Use the core mechanic as defined above. The player first rolls a d20 and adds a modifier for their survival skill in the skills section of their character sheet. If the total is 12 or higher, the character succeeds, or the check succeeds, excuse me. Sometimes a check calls for ability to be used when specific skills or features doesn't apply. For example, if a character tries to recall a crucial memory, the GM may ask them to make an intelligence check, setting an appropriate DC for how fast or precise the character needs to recall. Skills. Most checks call on the use of specific skills. Each skill has a modifier that represents a creature's level of aptitude in that skill. Skill modifiers are combinations of the base ability the skill is tied, and the number of ranks the character has in the skill. The skills table provides a brief description of each skill and its connection to a specific ability. Working together. Sometimes 2 or more characters team up to attempt a task. The characters leave the effort, or the one with the highest ability modifier can make the check with advantage, reflecting the help the other characters provide. In combat, this requires the help action. See the combat section. A character can help only when 2 or more individuals work together would be productive. Some tasks such as threading a needle are no easier with help. Variant group checks. Using this rules, each character in the group works together to accomplish the same task, such as crossing a ravine or searching for an object. A group check succeeds if half or more of the group members succeed on their check, otherwise it fails. GM advice rules to check by. Making checks is the most common method for resolving challenges outside of combat, but learn when to call for a check. It is just as important. Consider the following advice. Player characters are exceptional. Unless failure would have a meaningful consequence, characters' actions should succeed without a check. Making checks for mundane tasks slows down the game. Details of the scene. Consider a scene's environment. Running through a crowd of people is very different from chasing someone through a crowd while being pursued. Eventual success. If something can be tried over and over with no consequence, skip the check and instead describe how long it takes to accomplish. Expertise. If a character's origin or profession is relevant to a task, you can let them succeed or grant them a bonus such as advantage or lower DC. And then it goes into the details of the skills. Okay, skills with different abilities. Each skill has a default ability that is used when making a check. In rare situations, the GM might allow you to use a different ability. For example, if a character needs to recall a list of ship part serial numbers from memory, the GM may ask them to make a mechanics check using their intelligence instead of wisdom. Proficiency. Proficiency reflects a character's training in a specific type of gear. Unlike skills, proficiencies are static. You are either proficient or not. Weapons, armor, shields, tools, and vehicles can require proficiencies to be utilized effectively. Making a saving throw. A saving throw, also referred to as a save, is made when attempting to resist or avoid certain dangers, such as techniques or environmental hazards. Like checks, when a saving throw is prompted, it first states the difficulty class DC, followed by the corresponding ability. The player rolls a d20 and adds their character's save bonus, located next to a corresponding ability modifier on the character sheet, and compares the result to the target number of the DC. Abilities and saves. Saving throws are named after the corresponding ability used to make the save. A strength saving throw, a wisdom saving throw, and so on. The table below shows a sample of effects that would prompt different saving throws. Saving throws as examples, it goes into strength, resist an opposing physical force, dexterity, dodge out of harm's way, constitution, endure sickness or poison, intelligence, pierce an illusion, wisdom, resist a psychic attack, charisma, maintain your presence. Fate points. When the situation is dire, sometimes you need to reach deep down for a little extra, be in drive, courage, or luck. This is represented by spending fate points. Fate points can be used in multiple ways, though the GM can choose whether certain options apply to in their game. Starting fate points. At level 1, your character starts with 3 fate points. Your fate points total increases when you reach a certain level, as defined on the fate points table. Regaining fate points. Your fate points total refreshes after finishing a long rest. Originally, the GM can choose for fate points to instead of replenish at the start of each session or between adventures. Optionally, the GM can choose the fate points to instead replenish at the start of each session or between adventures. Okay. Fate points. Character level 1. Fate points is 3. Bonus die d6. Although I don't think they really said what fate points are actually for, but okay. Okay, fate points. I guess they're going to get into it because I'm looking at it now. Okay, 11 is 5 points, 17 is 6 points. D8, D10, D12. Okay, bonus die. You can spend a fate point to roll a bonus die and add the result to a single attack roll, check, or saving throw. You can choose to roll the die after the D20 roll is made, but before the GM narrates or applies the results. When used in this way, you can spend only 1 fate point per D20 roll. At certain levels, the bonus die improves to a D8 or better, as detailed on the fate points table. Fate's advantage. Instead of spending a fate point to gain a bonus die, you can spend 2 fate points to gain advantage on a single attack roll, check, or saving throw. You can apply any bonus dice to this D20 roll. Variant. Tempting fate. Using this option rule, if the result on the bonus die is a 1, you still gain the bonus point, but the GM also gains a Bane die of equal value, D6, D8, etc. At any time, the GM can choose for a player to roll a Bane die and subtract the result from a single attack roll, check, or saving throw. The GM decides whether the player rolls a Bane die before they make the D20 roll. The Bane die is lost once used. You can spend a fate point to avoid having to roll a Bane die, after which the Bane die is lost. Any remaining Bane dice are also lost after the character finishes a long rest. Extra recovery. When taking a short rest, see damage and healing below, a character can spend 1 fate point to roll a bonus die, then add the result to their current HP or TP. Staving off death. Whenever you fail a death saving throw, you can spend 1 fate point to turn the failure into a success. This option can be taken while your character is dying only once. Variant Fate Pool. Using this option rule, instead of each character having their own fate points, they are added to a pool of points accessible to the entire group. If using fate points in this way, the amount added to the pool for each character is half of what they would gain normally. Social interaction. Characters meet a variety of different people and creatures during their journey. There are many instances where talking and being sociable is preferable to duking it out with swords and guns. Your characters might need to settle a dispute between local gangs or bribe their way past a group with a piece of shortcake. Had to bring up the shortcake bit. If you've seen me play Phantasy Star 1, you know what I'm talking about, where you had to go into a dungeon to collect a shortcake to give to a governor when you went to visit him the first time. NPCs. The GM assumes the role of any character who isn't controlled by a player. They're referred to as non-player characters, NPCs. An NPC's attitude towards your character is friendly, indifferent, or hostile, which are defined as follows. Friendly. Creatures with this character well and are likely to offer help or advise them. They can usually be persuaded to help with harmless tasks without needing to make a check. Indifference. Creatures have little concern for the characters. That doesn't make them impolite or discourteous, but that can change depending upon the scenario. The attitude is most common from strangers and locals alike. Hostile. Creatures are opposed to the character's goals, wishing them misfortune, ill will, or outright harm. Some might attack if provoked, others might find other methods to thwart the character's goal. Social checks with hostile creatures are often made against high difficulties. Resolving social interaction. There are 3 ways to resolve social interaction through role-playing: checks and social challenges. Role-playing. Using this style, the entire encounter is resolved through talking and acting out with each other, which each character would do or say. This is the easiest method and is useful for situations that can be resolved without the need for checks. Role-playing can be performative. Example, I'll find you again and I'll bring her back, I swear it. Or it can be descriptive. Example, I make a vow to go rescue the maid myself and then storm out of the throne room. A combination of both often works best depending on your player's preferences. The GM uses an NPC's personality and your character's actions and attitudes to determine how an NPC reacts. A cowardly thief might buckle under threats of imprisonment. A stubborn mechanic refuses to help if the characters badger her. A vain noble laps up flattery. When interacting with an NPC, pay attention to the GM's portrayal of the NPC's personality. You might be able to learn an NPC's goals and then use that information to influence the NPC. If you offer NPCs something they want or play on their sympathies, fears, or goals, you can form friendships, ward off violence, or learn a key piece of information. On the other hand, if you insult a group of soldiers or speak ill of a noble's allies, your efforts to convince or deceive will likely fail. Making checks. Checks can be key in determining the outcome of a social interaction. Your role-playing efforts can alter an NPC's attitude, but there might still be an element of chance if the GM wants dice to play a role in determining an NPC's response to you in such situations. The GM will typically ask you to make a check. Pay attention to your skills when thinking of how you will interact with an NPC. Use an approach that relies on your group's strengths. For example, if the group needs to trick a guard into letting them pass, A checkpoint. Past a checkpoint. They misspelled past. They put this past as in the past. The character who is proficient in deception should lead the discussion. Social challenges. Social challenges arise when characters try to influence an NPC through a combination of roleplay, a note above, and checks made during social interactions. Depending on the interaction, deception, intimidation, or persuasion checks are rolled against a DC, usually equal to 10 plus the NPC's insight skill modifier. The results are tallied until they reach either a total of 3 successes to win or 3 failures to lose the challenge. How you roleplay the challenge is up to you. One example is to actively roleplay in conversation, while another would be just describe your character's attitude or general attitudes. Statements. The main rule is to keep things fun and simple while making the checks. Conditional social elements. Certain elements might influence a social interaction. Perhaps a character has familiarity with an NPC, or has done them a favor in the past. Alternatively, the character could be a member of a faction the NPC is opposed to. In those situations, consider giving advantage or disadvantage to the checks for their particular NPC. If the effect is significant, the characters can succeed automatically. If you're running a social challenge and you can use these conditions elements to the tally automatic successes or failures before the challenge begins. Exploration. The galaxy is filled with endless regions of wonder, danger, and mystery. This section covers the different ways characters interact with environments, encounters throughout the game. Vision and light. Some tasks, such as noticing danger, finding hidden spots, or hitting an enemy in combat, rely on your ability to see. Darkness and other effects that obscure vision could prove a hindrance. Obscured areas. A given area might be highly or heavily obscured. In the lightly obscured areas, such as dim light or patchy fog, creatures have disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight. Heavily obscured areas, such as dense fog or solid debris, blocks vision entirely. In these areas, a creature is considered to be blinded. See conditions. Light. The presence or absence of light as an environment creates 3 categories of illumination. Bright light lets most creatures see normally. Even gloomy days provide a bright light, as do flashlights, overhead lights, lamps, fires, and other sources of illumination with a specific radius. Dim light creates a lightly obscured area. Areas of dim light, such as a shadow, are often between the sources of bright light and the surrounding darkness. Darkness creates a heavily obscured character's face. Darkness outdoors at night within an unlit corridor or in subterranean chambers. Special vision. Some creatures have special forms of vision that allow them to see areas that are obscured or have limited light. Blind sight. You can perceive your surroundings without relying on sight, within a specific radius. This includes invisible creatures and objects and anything that isn't behind total cover. Dark vision. Within a specific range, you can see in the darkness as if the darkness were dim light, and see in dim light as if it were bright light. Infravision. While in dim light or darkness, you can see and discern heat signatures within ranges. You can also see the signatures of objects behind up to 5 feet or total cover as long as the object providing cover is non-metallic. Thermosense. You can pinpoint the location of creatures and moving objects within range, provided that you and anything you are detecting are both in contact with the same surface, the ground, a wall, or a ceiling, the same liquid. Tremor sense can't detect anything in the air, and it doesn't count as a form of sight. I called it sense earlier. It's actually tremor sense because I didn't read it properly. My apologies. True sight. You can see in magical darkness, see invisible creatures and objects, automatically detect and then succeed against visual illusions, and perceive the original form of a shape changer. Hiding. Hiding can be useful for spying, sneaking past an enemy, or setting an ambush. The GM decides when circumstances allow for your characters to hide. When you try to hide, you make a stealth check until you are discovered or stop hiding. The result of that check becomes the DC for perception checks made to locate you while you are hidden. You can hide only if no one can see you. You can't hide from a creature that can see you clearly, and you are discovered if you make a significant amount of motion or noise, such as shouting or making an attack. Passive perception. Sometimes you can notice someone or something hiding even if you aren't searching. In these cases, your character's passive perception is used. This feature is also used when hiding. The GM compares the results of your stealth check to the passive perception of a creature. If a creature's passive perception is equal or higher, it spots you when you are hiding. Interacting with objects. Interacting with objects and maybe read a little bit of the combat system, which seems to be pretty close to, so we'll read a little bit of that, then we'll probably call it a night. I didn't realize the time already. It's past 10 o'clock where I'm at. I might go a little longer, it just depends on how I'm feeling by that point. Okay, interacting with objects. While exploring, characters interact with various objects such as devices, doors, levers, and switches. These usually don't require checks unless an object prevents interaction, like a door locked or an encrypted keypad. Hidden objects. Searching for hidden things such as a secret hatch or a trap often requires a perception check, provided you are searching in the hidden object's vicinity. If you don't specify a vicinity near where the object is located, even with a check, the object cannot be found. Breaking objects. As an action, you can automatically break and otherwise destroy a fragile object, such as a ceramic mug or a glass case. For more resilient objects, the GM may use the rule for object statistics. See Chapter 9. Quick interactions. When time is short, such as combat, you can make only one free interaction per turn. That interaction must occur during your movement or action. Interacting with additional objects requires you to take an action. Actions are defined in the combat section. Travel. During an adventure, the characters might travel long distances that could take hours or days. The game can summarize this travel without circulating exact distances or times, or you can use the travel's pace rules below. If you need to know how fast you can move when every second matters, you see the movement rules on combat later in this chapter. Travel pace. A group can move at fast, normal, or slow pace as shown in the travel pace table, which states how far they can move in a period of time. Faster travel makes characters less perceptive, while a slower pace makes it possible to sneak around or carefully search an area. Each travel pace has a game effect as defined below. Fast traveling is a fast pace imposes disadvantages on traveling perception, surviving, and stealth checks. Normal traveling at normal pace imposes disadvantages on stealth checks. Slow traveling at a slow pace grants advantage on perception or survival checks. Vehicles. Vehicles have their own rate of travel, which is covered in Chapter 8. Travel pace. Pace, minute, hours, and day. Fast, 400 feet, 4 miles an hour, 36 miles, and that's fast. Normal, 300 feet, a minute, 3 miles an hour, 24 miles a day. Slow, 200 feet, 2 miles, 18 miles out of the day. Marching order. Every group should establish a marching order. This makes it easier to determine which characters are affected by traps, which ones can spot hidden enemies, and where each one is positioned at the start of a combat. You can change your marching order outside combat and record the order in any way you like. Marching orders can be single file or 2 or more rows. Special types of movement. Some areas require characters to use alternate forms of movement from walking or running, climbing, crawling, and swimming. You climb, crawl, swim at half your speed. Some creatures have separate speed listing for them. Some techniques and features can also alter their speeds. The GM may require you to take an alternate check for circumstances such as rough water or slippery surfaces. Difficult terrain. Some terrains such as dense forests or snow cover lands are harder to move through. You move at half speed in difficult terrain. Moving 1 foot in difficult terrain costs 2 feet of speed. Jumping. Your strength modifiers determine how far you can jump. Each foot you jump costs 1 foot of movement. High jump. For a high jump, if you move at least 10 feet immediately before you jumping, you can leap upward a number of feet equal to 3 plus your strength modifier. The distance is halved for a standing high jump. Long jump. For a long jump, if you move at least 10 feet immediately before jumping, you can jump a number of feet equal to 12 plus your strength modifier. The distance is halved for a standing long jump. If the height of your jump is also a factor, the GM may require you to make an athletics check. Landing a difficult terrain. If you land at a difficult terrain after a long jump, you can succeed on a DC 10 athletics check or fall prone. See conditions. Environmental hazards. A harsh environment can be as dangerous as the monsters that dwell within it. The following are some potential environmental hazards. Burning. A burning creature or object takes 1d4 damage at the start of each of its turns. As an action, you can extinguish fire on yourself by dropping prone, see the conditions, and rolling on the ground. The fire also goes out if it is doused, submerged, or suffocated. Dehydration and malnutrition. A creature requires an amount of food and water per day based on its size. See combat later on, as shown in food and water needs table. Dehydration. A creature that drinks less than half the required water for a day gains 1 level of exhaustion at the day's end. Malnutrition. A creature that eats but consumes less than half the required food for a day must succeed in a DC 10 Constitution saving 3 or gain 1 level of exhaustion at the day's end. I usually don't go into the exhaustion because that just ruins the fun for me, because you got to keep track of everyone's food and water intake. A creature that eats nothing for 5 days automatically gains 1 level of exhaustion at the end of the 5th day, as well as an additional level at the end of each subsequent day without food. Recovery. Exhausted from dehydration and malnutrition can't be removed until the creature consumes the full amount of food and water required for a day. Falling. A creature that falls takes 1d6 physical damage at the end of the fall for every 10 feet it fell, to a maximum of 20d6. The creature lands prone unless it avoids taking damage from the fall. Outer space exposure. Oh, this is a new one for me. When a creature is exposed to outer space vacuum without adequate protection, it is forced to release its breath and begins suffocating. See suffocation below. In addition, it takes 10 3d6 cold damage and 10 3d6 necrotic damage at the start of each of its turns. At the start of its 3rd turn of exposure and each later turn, the creature must succeed on a DC 20 Constitution save throw or fall unconscious. Radiation exposure. A creature responds to a radiation source can contract radiation sickness. A creature who remains within 60 feet medium range of a radiation source for 1 minute or longer, or who makes direct contact with a radiation source, must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or contract radiation sickness. An affected creature gains 1 level of exhaustion, see Chapter 1, and can't regain hit points from resting at the end of each long rest. The creature repeats the saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 10 3d6 necrotic damage and gains 1 level of exhaustion. Radiation sickness can be removed with certain techniques or by taking a long rest in a med bay. Suffocation. A creature can hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus its Constitution modifier, minimum of 30 seconds. Before suffocation begins. When a creature runs out of breath or is choking, it gains 1 level of exhaustion at the end of each of its turns. When the creature can breathe again, it removes all levels and exhaustion gained from suffocation. Okay, combat. This is where I really want to get into here. And I might have to hold off on it. Let me see here. So combat. Okay, yeah, that's going to be a while reading that one. So we're going to go ahead and save that for next time. There we go. We'll save that for next time. Thank you everybody for watching. This is Dave on CRPG Dungeons & Dragons Night. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream, whichever comes first. And bye-bye.